Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of Election Commission of India, India International Institute for Democracy and Election Management, I welcome you all to the International Conference of 2026. India, led by the Honorable Chief Election Commissioner, has assumed the chairship for the Council of Member States of International IDEA for 2026 with IIIDEM as the nodal agency. The overarching theme of the chairship is democracy for an inclusive, peaceful, resilient, and sustainable world. The entire chairship will be divided yet interconnected into two thematic pillars. First one of which is reimagining democracy for the future, and second being independent and professional EMBs for sustainable democracy. Under the two thematic pillars, India has identified 43 thematic areas, out of which 7 will be seen in the form of global roadmaps, policy briefs, and knowledge toolkits. 11 will be seen in the form of model international electoral standards, one of its kind. And 25 will be seen in the form of global best practices and innovations in electoral processes. Well, I'll skip this slide because I'm sure we are experiencing and living the international conference right now. A brief introduction to the session. This session investigates the casual link between strong preparation and electoral integrity. By documenting the global case studies, we move beyond technicalities of logistics to illustrate a broader narrative. That sound planning is the architect of legitimacy, ensuring not just an orderly polling day, but a resilient and participatory democratic system. The session seeks to majorly deal with mapping diverse global case studies to identify specific planning models that directly contribute to well-managed orderly elections. It also seeks to emphasize how demonstrating strategic foresight transforms technical logistics into a foundation for public trust and durable democratic development. It also shows how shifting the focus from short-term crisis management to long-term capacity building sustains participation and inclusion. With this, may I now invite our moderator, Ms. Bhagyashree Banayak, the Chief Electoral Officer of Nagaland, to lead us through the session. Thank you.
Good morning to all of you and namaskar. Myself Bhagyashree, CEO Nagaland. As you know, we are allotted a topic, election planning. And as you all know, it is a vast topic. Actually, we started planning and still doing to present election planning only. So, as I start, election planning is a structured and phased approach adopted by election management bodies to conduct free, fair, inclusive, and credible elections. There are four core components of this election planning. One is advanced preparedness and structured timeline. Second is continuous training and capacity building. Third one is interagency coordination and stakeholder engagement. And as you all know, fourth one, nowadays, is a very important. It is all related to technology. Technology enabled transparent and inclusive processes. So, as election planning is central to ability of election management bodies and election practitioners to deliver elections that are credible, inclusive, transparent, and secure also. There are some impact areas. We have to ensure credibility and public trust. Second one is we have to deal with risk management and security. Third one, operational efficiency and coordination. Fourth area is a capacity building and training. Fifth one is inclusiveness and accessibility. Obviously, transparency and technology integration are very important core factors. So basically, election planning spans the entire electoral cycle, covering voter registration, candidate management, campaigning, polling, counting, and post-election activities also. It integrates administrative, legal, security, logistical, and technological measures to ensure seamless execution. In that election planning, key stakeholders are very important. It includes election management body, political parties, voters, media, security agencies, and regulators central to democratic functioning. We can modify election planning into three, again, core areas. It deals with innovation, field experiences, and peer learning also. So we can deal with best practices and innovation. Strong institutional and legal frameworks, IT-enabled voter services and election management system, comprehensive, comprehensive training and capacity building, robust security and law order planning also, strong stakeholders engagement and expenditure monitoring and regulatory compliances. Inclusive and voter-centric approaches are very important. And as you all know, in today's time, use of electronic voting machine, EVM, and voter variable paper audit trails, means VVPATs, are important feature of these aspects. So, while dealing with election planning, it is necessary to always aware of field experiences, and accordingly, we can keep updated regarding with that experiences. So we have to adopt adaptive planning for deployment and logistic based on ground realities. Community engagement is the second part of field experience. We are dealing with our local bodies and civil society organization to improve trust and participation. Obviously, there are crisis response practices is the most important factor in this election planning. Learning from handling scrutiny incidents, weather disruption, and technical failures. Third important factor is the peer learning. Now, just we are thinking about global experiences. As elections are planned across the full electoral cycle, pre-election, election day, and post-election. Across diverse legal systems and political constraints, EMBs worldwide align around early planning as the foundation of credible and resilient elections. Election planning enables EMB to proactively address modern risks such as misinformation, cyber threat, climatic disruption, population mobility, and security tensions. And obviously, rising public expectations. By integrating strategic communication, cyber security, and IT resilience, disaster ready logistic, including voter services, coordinated security planning, and transparent election management. EMBs can transform elections into trustworthy and citizen-focused process. As you all know, India is the world's largest democracy. So, mega festival in India. We celebrated it as like a largest festival in India. So, conducting election in a country as a diverse as India evolves, addressing challenges related to vast geography, linguistic and cultural diversity, population scale, and security sensitivities, and obviously complex logistical requirements. Now we are moving towards election related activity. We have started it more than 6 months prior to poll day. Our activity starts before 6 months prior to poll. So, officers deployment, transfer and posting of election related officer is doing in this phase. Second, it's most important aspect of electoral planning. Comprehensive training of election officials is started and it continues goes on up to polling day. First level checking of EVM and VVPATs for general elections is done by House of the People, Lok Sabha. Mapping of person of disabilities, electoral to thalassemia. It includes inclusive voting. And the last and the major factor is voter education. Preparation of systematic voters education and SWIFT plan is continuously running in this 6 months. So we are moving towards before poll 3 to 4 months. First level checking of EVMs and VVPATs for general elections to state assembly is done during this 4 to 3 months period. Comprehensive assessment of polling personnel availability, training needs, and deployment requirements is done during this period. Polling station assessment, physical verification of all polling stations is also done during this period. And obviously, budget preparation, detailed preparation, and approval of election budgets covering all the operational expenditure. Also, swift implementation, active implementation of voter education and electoral participation campaigns across the all constituencies. Now we are moving towards key activities 2 months before poll. So we are going towards tendering and procurement of election materials. Second, we will see the all ground realities of law and order. During this period, we map critically sensitive polling station. Force deployment training is also started before 2 months of poll. Vehicle arrangement, fund arrangement, and training of enforcement agencies like police, sector officer, election related official are also going on in this period. Meeting with political parties and other stakeholders can be done in this period only. Preparation of communication plan, operationalization of complaint monitoring system, and last and important, activation of IT system. So before 1 month, we can start randomization of training of polling personals. We do randomization and commissioning of EVM and VVPATs also. Nomination of contesting candidates and scrutiny is also we can do 1 month before poll. Preparation of e-roll, printing of ballot paper, media engagement, and distribution of voter information slips and voter guides can also be done before 1 month before poll. Arrangement at polling station and voter assistance booth. This type of arrangement we can do 1 month before the poll. And these are the poll day activities. So during poll day, we are continuously monitoring voter turnout. We are just continuously helping people with disabilities to do their voting. And after polling, we can do the storage of EVMs into the strong room. So, in India's large-scale democracy, election planning serves as an integrating backbone of the entire electoral system. It aligns to work of Election Commission of India, state and district administration, security forces, observers, technology partners, political parties, and civil society within a single operational framework. This coordination ensures that legal mandate, logistical arrangement, security planning, and voter services move in synchronized rather than disconnected activities. So, now we will see the 4 factors. These are like a recommendation of election planning. We have to strengthen our capacity building. We have to leverage our technology. We have to promote institutional learning. And obviously, we have to enhance voter and stakeholders engagement. So, effective planning is fundamental to the successful conduct and management of the entire electoral system. So for me, that's it. Now I hand over this stage to Mr. Jamil, our delegate from Tunisia. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, hello. سيداتي سادتي، نقدم لكم التجربة التونسية في التخطيط الانتخابي.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am taking this opportunity to present before you the Tunisian experiment or experience in conducting elections.
تعد التخطيط الانتخابي أحد الركائز الأساسية لنجاح المسار الانتخابي.
Electoral planning constitutes one of the fundamental pillars for the success of any electoral process.
لأنه يضمن حسن التنظيم على كافة المراحل ويحد من المخاطر العملياتية ويعزز الثقة في المسار ونتائجه.
As it ensures the proper organization of all stages, limits operational risks, and enhances confidence in both the process and its results.
منذ سنة 2011 التخطيط الانتخابي لديه أهمية خاصة وذلك بسياق الانتقال الديمقراطي واختلاف الأنشطة الانتخابية مما يؤكد على ضرورة اعتماد تخطيط عام ومهيكل.
In Tunisia, electoral planning has gained particular importance since 2011 within the context of the democratic transition and the multiplicity of electoral events which require the adoption of comprehensive and structured planning approaches.
الإطار المؤسساتي للتخطيط الانتخابي في تونس.
Electoral planning in Tunisia. For electoral planning in Tunisia, institutional framework for electoral planning in Tunisia.
التخطيط الانتخابي في تونس يعتمد على إطار مؤسساتي يختص بإحداث هيئة عليا مستقلة للانتخابات، مؤسسة دستورية مستقلة مكلفة حصريا بتنظيم المسارات الانتخابية.
Electoral planning in Tunisia is based on a clear institutional framework characterized by the establishment of the independent high authority for executions as an independent constitutional body entrusted exclusively with the management and organization of electoral processes.
استقلالية إدارية ومالية تؤمن النزاهة والنجاعة العملياتية داخل الهيئة. هناك تقسيم المسؤوليات بين الإدارة المركزية والإدارة الجهوية، مكاتب الاقتراع والمراكز التجميع.
Administrative and financial independence, ensuring neutrality and operational effectiveness. A clear and complementary distribution of roles and responsibilities among central administration, regional electoral administrations, polling and counting stations.
مراحل التخطيط الانتخابي.
Stages of electoral planning.
التجربة التونسية تطرح مقاربة التخطيط العام التي تغطي كامل المسار الانتخابي يمكن تقسيمها على مرحلتين أساسيتين.
The Tunisian experience relies on a comprehensive planning approach that covers the entire electoral cycle through two main levels.
تخطيط استراتيجي. هذه المرحلة ترتكز أساسا على تحديد الرزنامة الانتخابية، رزنامة انتخابية واضحة ومهيكلة.
A strategic planning, this level focuses in particular on defining a precise and well-structured electoral calendar.
تحديد الأهداف الاستراتيجية وتقدير الموارد البشرية والموارد المالية واللوجستية وإحداث مخطط عاجل وآليات التصرف في المخاطر.
Setting strategic objectives and assessing human, financial and logistical resources, developing contingency plans and mechanism for risk management.
المخطط العملياتي يترجم التوجهات الاستراتيجية إلى إجراءات ملموسة وذلك من خلال تنظيم وتحديث السجل الانتخابي، تحديد مراكز الاقتراع والفرز، كذلك تحديد المخطط اللوجستي من حيث المعدات الانتخابية، تخزين المعدات وبرنامج النقل، والمخطط الخاص بالموارد البشرية حيث الانتداب، التكوين وتوزيع الأعوان على الميدان.
Operational planning translates strategic orientations into concrete sections through the organization and updating of the voter register, the designation of polling and counting centers and stations, logistical planning, election materials, transportation, storage and distribution, human resources planning, recruitment of staff, training and field development.
أدوات التخطيط المعتمد.
Planning tools adopted.
أن الهيئة العليا المستقلة للانتخابات تعتمد على العديد من الأدوات في التخطيط والتصرف.
The Independent High Authority for Elections relies on several planning and management tools, including
رسالة مفصلة خاصة بكل مرحلة من مراحل المسار الانتخابي، أدلة إجراءات وبروتوكولات عملياتية موحدة، أنظمة معلوماتية للتصرف في المعطيات الانتخابية، جدول لمتابعة الأداء، وآليات تنسيق بين الإدارة المركزية والإدارات الجهوية.
detailed timelines for each phase of the electoral process, standardized procedural manuals and operational protocols, information systems for managing electoral data, monitoring and performance evaluation tables, continuous coordination mechanism between central and regional structures.
التخطيط يوم الاختراع.
Planning and election day.
التخطيط يوم الاختراع يحظى باهتمام خاص.
Election day planning receives particular attention through
خاص لأنه يقع توزيع متزامن لمواد ولوازم الاختراع في وقت وجيز، الإعداد والتنسيق بخصوص الموارد البشرية، آليات القيادة وأخذ قرارات واضحة، مخطط تدخل عاجل وسريع لمجابهة الصعوبات العملياتية.
The advanced distribution of electoral materials and timely delivery, ensuring the readiness and coordination of human resources, clear chains of command and decision making, rapid intervention plans to address operational challenges, the public nature of procedures to guarantee transparency.
الخطط العد واحتساب النتائج.
Planning for vote counting and results tabulation.
التخطيط لعملية فرز أوراق الاقتراع يعتمد على مبدأ الشفافية والثبوتية.
Planning for vote counting and results tabulation is based on the principles of transparency and verifiability through
عملية الفرز تقع داخل مكتب الاقتراع بالاعتماد على وثائق رسمية، المصادقة التدريجية على النتائج على مستوى محلي ثم جهوي ثم مركزي، حضور الملاحظين وممثلي المترشحين، الاعتماد على وسائل رقمية دون المساس بالمسار اليدوي لتجميع النتائج.
Vote counting conducted publicly at polling stations, the use of official and verifiable results forms, a gradual aggregation of results from the local to the regional and central levels, the participation of observers and representatives of candidates and lists, the use of supporting digital tools without compromising the legally established manual process.
تخطيط ناجح للنتائج في التجربة التونسية.
Outcomes of effective planning in the Tunisian experience.
القيام بتخطيط انتخابي غالبا ما يعطي نتائج إيجابية، حيث سير جيد للعملية الانتخابية، الحد من الأخطاء العملياتية وزيادة قبول النتائج، يعزز المصداقية للهيئة.
The adoption of systematic electoral planning has led to the several positive outcomes, including the orderly conduct of electoral operations, a reduction in operational errors, increased acceptance of election results, enhanced credibility of the electorate, the development of cumulative institutional expertise open to continuous improvement.
التحديات والدروس المستفادة.
Challenges and lessons learned.
التحديات: الوقت الوجيز، محدودية الموارد، ومناخ سياسي متغير.
Challenges: tight deadline, limited resources, constantly evolving political context.
الدروس: أهمية التخطيط المبكر والاستباقي، وجوب التنسيق الداخلي، الاستثمار في التكوين وتنمية المهارات.
Lessons learned: the importance of early and proactive planning, the necessity of a strong internal coordination, investment in training and capacity building, flexibility in crisis and contingency management.
التجربة التونسية أثبتت أن التخطيط الانتخابي لا يؤمن فقط تنظيم الانتخابات، تعمل انتخابات نزيهة وشفافة، بل يساهم في إرساء نظام انتخابي مستدام ويعزز المشاركة ويدعم الشرعية والعملية الانتخابية على المدى الطويل. شكرا.
Conclusion: the Tunisian experience demonstrates the sound electoral planning not only ensures well-organized and transparent elections, but also contributes to establishing a sustainable electoral system that enhances participation, strengthens legitimacy, and supports the democratic process in the long term. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Zamil, for informative session on Tunisia's election planning. Now I would like to invite Mr. Singh, our master trainer, to put on more light on our India's election planning.
Thank you. Thank you, Dice and the audience. In this session, I'm going to discuss about the election planning in a global perspective, not an Indian perspective. We make buildings to live. We put our focus on interiors, on exteriors, on electrification. We make it very beautiful. How beautiful is the building? It doesn't matter. The thing which matters is foundation. Whether the foundations are strong or not. If foundations are strong, the building will be reliable. Now I pose a question. If I say there will be an election after 15 days, then will it be possible for you to conduct the election? Of course, the answer will be no. Just within 15 days, 20 days, or within a month, it will not be possible for us to conduct an election. But why? Why we can't conduct the election? Another thing is, for the last 2 days, we are hearing some words like transparent election, secure election, credible election, inclusive elections, free, fair elections, all these kind of things. We are hearing these things. If we put all these words in a circle, and if we name that circle, and the name of the circle will be election planning. Because everything depends on the planning. And after planning, there will be an operations. So planning and operations, they are the most important things. Now going ahead, we all know these are just basic introduction that elections are the backbone of the democracy. Democracy depends on the election. For better elections, for a smooth election, for credible election, for trusted elections, we need planning. So I am skipping this slide. We also know that in today's system, elections are complex. We need a close coordination between law, administration, technology, logistics, and many stakeholders. In a democratic system, we need elections. And elections to be, as I already said, transparent, accountable, secure, inclusive, so many things are there. Now, how to ensure all these kind of things? It all depends on the plan. The foremost thing is the electoral roll. Maintaining an error-free, accurate electoral roll is must for an inclusive election. We are hearing about inclusiveness, inclusion. So it all depends upon the electoral rules. So maintaining an accurate electoral rule and inclusive electoral rule is very important for the election planning. In India, we have an annual summary revision. There is continuous revision, right? Pre-verification is there. In Egypt, there is automatic voter roll updates through the national ID database. In Canada, there is a national register of electors with the online revisions. So if we want to maintain a proper electoral roll, then we have to make plans for all these kind of things. Because if you have a proper electoral roll, then there will be a minimal chance or the no chances of the duplicate voting or the impersonation or the ghost voters. When the CSC sir was inaugurated in the session, he was saying we have to include every eligible voter and no ineligible voter to be included in the electoral roll. So again, it depends on the planning. Second thing is about the logistic and material management. We have to plan for the logistic. We have to plan for the movement of the storage of the ballot papers, of the machines, different types of forms, kits, stationaries. Regarding the vehicles, about the petrols, about the fuels. All these kind of things are needed. Just as an example, so many countries are doing these things. Rather, I could say every country is doing this thing. But only a few countries are taken as an example. So in India, we have a massive logistic. Massive logistic planning is done because we have to supply the items in desert areas, in islands, in Himalayas. And for these kind of things, we use different kind of vehicles. We use boats, we use animals, we use airplanes. Similarly, in Indonesia, they also use multi-type of transports. Because in Indonesia, there are around 8 lakh polling stations and they are located in over 7,000 islands. So they have to supply all these kind of things in over 7,000 islands. So again, a proper planning is needed. Then we will go for the training plan. For proper election, for credible election, for trustworthy election, the employees who are engaged in elections are to be trained. In India, we have triple IIDEM, which is organizing this conference. We have triple IIDEM for the capacity building. And in India, we have cascaded training plan. Similarly, in Mexico, there is INE Training and Civic Education Directorate. In the Philippines, we have COMELEC Education and Information Department. And in Kenya, they have IEBC Electoral Training Institute. But while delivering the training, we have to plan the buildings, the rooms where they will be trained. How many employees will be seated in a room? What kind of infrastructure is needed? If we are going for the hands-on training, then what equipments will be required? what minimum basic facilities will be required. You have to plan for these kind of things. Globally, there are some emerging things like the e-learning platform, which we can develop through the Moodle. Many countries are doing this thing. They are developing the e-learning platform. They are using the Moodle software. Now, next is the technology use plan. As you all know, technology is for ease of voting. It enhances the electoral integrity. So, in this technology era, every country is developing its technology. In India, we have NVSP portal, we have ECINet, we have Epic card, now it is also digitized, we have C-Vigils, we have ETBBS system, all these kind of things, we have Severa portal. In Estonia, there is internet voting. So in the national election, there is internet voting in the Estonia. And that internet voting, it allows citizens to cast their vote online via the internet from anywhere. In Philippines, they transmit the result electronically right from the polling stations. There is no separate counting station in the Philippines. Brazil also uses an app known as Pardal app for reporting illegal campaigns. Like the C-Vigil app in India, we have a Pardal app in Brazil. If we go by this, then we will increase the accessibility. We increase the efficiency of the elections. Next is the material management plan. As we all know, and I had also discussed earlier, election is very complex thing. Election needs many type of materials. As I had already written, not just ballot papers and IIDEM. We need many kind of materials. You have to purchase them. From where you will purchase them? What procedure will be followed? What about the budget allocation? If you purchase those items, then how the inventory will be made? Where you will put those items which you have purchased? We have to plan for their specific. Then how will you distribute those items at the time of dispatch of the polling parties? Right things to be given to the right team. Also, we have to think about whether those items are numbered items or the generalized items. If they are numbered items, then the specific item, specific machine, specific ballot paper, specific things have to be given to the specific polling team. We have to plan for it. In India, we manage the EVM, VVPAT, we form different type of forms, seals, stationaries. German organizes the ballot papers, envelopes, voting booths. And in New Zealand, there is the central printing with the local distribution. Some countries are going for the barcoding system. So barcoding system will help the distribution of election-related materials, easy distribution of election-related materials at the time of dispatch of polling parties. Another is the polling station plan. In India and in every country, there's a large number of polling stations. We have to plan for the location regarding the accessibility, about the facilities in the polling station. In India, we call it the assured minimum facilities. We are also going for the GIS mapping of the polling stations. Australia also uses the GIS and the demographic data. In Canada, there is also the electoral GIS mapping to ensure the polling station. So we can say globally, now the GIS system, the advanced mapping system, they are being used to locate, to, to centralize the polling stations. The minimum facilities have to be ensured because all the electors will come to the polling station. To increase the voter turnout, we need a proper, balanced, well-equipped, well-assessed, well-managed polling stations. Next one is the security plan. In the security plan, we have to think about the physical security as well as the cyber security. And all this physical security and cyber security will concentrate on pre-poll, poll day, and post-poll security. We have to plan for the security forces. From where you will get the security forces? How we will put them on the duties? Whether you need the armed security forces or non-armed security forces. Regarding the heli-dropping plan, what about the mining plan or the demining plan? You have to go for it. Whether all your polling stations need the armed security or some short number of polling stations need armed security, we have to plan for it. We have to plan for the quick response team. We have to plan for the vulnerable electors. How we will provide the security to the vulnerable electors. How you will secure the data. How you will secure your electoral data. Any kind of data related to the elections. Now this cyber security is also a new threat. So we have to also think about the cyber security. In the UK, they have the Electoral Security Task Force, which coordinates between the police, cyber units, and they monitor all kinds of securities at the polling station, like security of the staff, security of the election data. Nowadays, we heard the word electors' apathy. In urban areas, people are not casting their vote. We have to educate them. So voter education and awareness plan is also a big problem for us. In India, we have sweep plan. Similarly, Canada have Your Vote Matters outreach campaign. Every country, which is democratic country, every country which goes for the election is investing money, investing time to teach, to aware their electors regarding the proper voting. If they vote, then the proper government will be formed. Similarly, if you are using voting machines, any country is using voting machine, then you have to go for the voting machine plan. From where you will procure the voting machine, where you will storage the voting machine, how you will calibrate the voting machine, how you will test the voting machine, security of the voting machine, transportation of the voting machine, whether you need a GPS instrument or not while transporting the voting machine. From where you will procure the GPS equipment, who will fit the GPS equipment on your vehicles. You have to plan for these kind of things. In India, we have the electronic voting machine. We need a sufficient number of voting machines. We are concerned about the security, about the transportation, about the availability. Brazil also uses the voting machine. In Brazil, they have a centralized warehouse storage. They have the audit system. And they also track the machine during elections. We have to also go for the polling staff developers with healthcare plan. We have to ensure the well-being of our polling personnel. who are engaged in the election-related work. In India, we provide the travel, the allowances, the food, the security, doctors are there. Similarly, Indonesia, they also provide the insurance for the polling personnel. They also give the compensation for the polling personnel for the election fatigue causes. This is the new word, election fatigue causes. So they give money to their employees. Then there will be a counting and result transmission plan. How you will count the ballots? In which building? If there is centralized counting, then what arrangement have to be done? If the counting is right at the polling station, then what arrangement have to be done? What about the security at the time of counting? Who are allowed to enter the counting hall? What type of infrastructure will be required at the time of counting? So all these kind of things have to be planned in advance. Now we will shift to the risk management and contingency plan. We have to identify the risk. After identifying the different type of risk, we have to make plan to mitigate them. How to minimize those risks. So before making the plan, we have to think about different kind of risks. Whether that risk is human related, whether that risk is IT related, whether that risk is legal related, or the machine related risk, any kind of risk, any kind of law and order risk, and how you will handle those risks. Similarly, we have to go for the media and misinformation plan. By that term misinformation, I mean deepfakes and misuse of AI also. Though many countries are not going to plan these kind of things. Now, this is a bigger challenge for every country. So we have to make a proper plan for the media and misinformation. In India, we have PIB fact check. We coordinate with the social media platforms. We have visual app reporting systems. In European Union, they have rapid response units, right? They have they generally track the social media platforms. They have public fact checking systems. So the main thing is every election management bodies, they have to go for the real-time monitoring of the social media platforms. They have to coordinate with the social media platform companies which are handling these kind of things. And they have to make plans to combat those kind of misinformation or the deepfake videos or the misuse of AIs. So the key learning of my 10 minutes presentation is for the integrity of the electoral process, good planning is must. For the good planning, we have to integrate the voter education. We have to look after the logistics. We have to plan for the manpower. We have to go for the technology. We have to plan for the security, training of the staff, counting, result declaration, risk management. All these kind of things have to be planned. And if you plan properly, then there will be an accurate elections. Recommendations are, we have to strengthen the cyber security for any kind of data which is election related data. Every election management body have to play a proactive role to detect and counter the misinformation. We have to look after the deep fakes. We have to look after the misuse of the AIs. to analyze, to plan for the logistics, we have to go for the data. Data analysis have to be done. And the last thing which we are not doing is, and many EMBs are not doing things, it is institutionalization of the post-election audits, the evaluation of the thing, the feedback. All these kind of things are required for the continuous improvement of the next election. So my conclusion is, in today's world, for the proper election, we need a precision planning, and it will revolve around the logistics, about the technology, about the security, about the personnel, about the communication, and it will revolve around the inclusion. Every EMD have to go for the new. But the central goal is to protect the voter, the vote, and the integrity of democracy. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. C, for an insightful session on global practices in election planning. Now, I would like to invite Mr. Manish Garg, Senior DEC and Election Commissioner.
A very good afternoon, everyone. Thanks to all the panelists for a very detailed presentation on what election planning entails. I just realized that probably I am the last speaker of the last session of this conference, and on the most important subject of election planning, without which actually whatever we have learned or we have discussed in the last 3 days can become infructuous if the planning is not good. So planning is the most important, and I think it is, since it is the last session, so you will carry more learning or the more recent learning from this session, or more insights from this session. All the participants will carry into their, whenever they go back to their jobs. Election planning, actually, it's such a vast subject that you can spend days on it. And but most people realize, most citizens feel that election is a one-day job, but they don't realize that how much effort and how much time it goes into making that 15 seconds that the voter spends in the voting compartment possible, and a comfortable and smooth experience for the voter. In this context, I'll just give an overall overview of what the planning is and what planning entails. Of course, the details have been very vividly covered by the other speakers. So, Election Commission of India basically conducts these elections: President of India, Vice President, member of the House of People, member of Council of States, Rajya Sabha, members of the Legislative Assembly of States, and members of Legislative Council of States. And in these, among these elections, there are different tenures, and the most crucial elections from the point of view of advanced planning and detailed planning in terms of the man and material management, logistics management, come in the form of the member of Lok Sabha and member of Legislative Assembly of the states, for which we do a very extensive kind of planning activity. I'm sure you would have seen this slide, or you must have heard all this earlier, but just to put it in context, the planning, I have put this slide. India has about 1.5 billion voters, about 1.5 billion people, 1 billion voters, spread across 28 states and 8 union territories. And we are continuously evolving to deal with the increasing complexity. In 24-25, we have 6 national, 67 state recognized parties, and 2,854 plus other parties, registered parties, which can also contest elections. And out of these, 743 political parties participated in Lok Sabha elections, 20,000 candidates, and 6.2 million EVM units were used during these elections. and about about 15 million personnel were used across 1.1 million polling stations. The conduct of elections takes place on expiry of term of house, so we have to keep track of when the term of house is going to expire, or when there is a dissolution of house, which is an exceptional circumstance. Secondly, the by-elections are conducted from time to time due to vacancies, due to resignation, death, disqualification, or any other reason. So we have to keep track of the vacancies which are arising from time to time, and accordingly plan for the elections, because as per the law, we cannot keep a seat vacant for more than 6 months. Whenever we announce a schedule for the elections, this is how we calculate the dates of, this is how we prepare the detailed schedule as per the mandate given by the Representation of People Act. From the date of notification, then nomination, if the date of notification is X, the nomination will be X plus 7, scrutiny will be X plus 7 plus 1, withdrawal will be another 2 days later, and date of poll will be at least 14 days later from the date of withdrawal, and counting of votes at least 3 days after the date of poll, and another 2 days for the date before the election is completed. So all these timelines have to be kept in mind while announcing an election or planning for an election. While preparing this schedule, we have to keep in mind we compile the list of all holidays and examination schedules so that there is no clash with these. And we have to also consider the climatic conditions of the area, the academic calendar, of course, the major festivals and minor festivals as well. And in India, we have a large number of such festivals or occasions where there is a large gathering of people and you can't hold elections on those dates. You also have to take into consideration the prevailing. We have to also take into account the prevailing law and order situation. We have to also take into account the law and order situation, the availability of central police forces, and the time required for their movement. These are basically the three phases of the electoral cycle: the pre-election period, the election period, and the post-election period. I will not read out everything. I think my predecessors have already discussed. So, but it is a continuous kind of a process. We have to go right from the institutional framework to planning and implementation to voter registration to personal management to electoral campaign to result declaration and for the storage of the machines thereafter, the election material thereafter, and dealing with the election petition. So we have to deal with all these aspects for a very wholesome kind of electoral cycle. Now, this is what an election planner in India looks like. So, as Bhagyashree has shown some excerpts from this election planner. And these are activities which actually start 300 days before the tentative date of poll as per the last schedule, and starts with a knowledge, attitude and practices survey of the voters and what motivates the voters or what demotivates the voters. We conduct a survey of that. And based on that, we prepare our strategies for the voter education plan and the sweep plan, and then database preparation and various activities. And each of these activities are about 180 activities, and each of these activities are codified and fed into the election planner software, and which have the CEO offices and the DOs have access to that. And not only access, but they are supposed to update whenever the activity is completed by them. And these also have the dates of start date and end dates of each activity have been codified. So whenever any activity goes beyond the end date, then the start, the CEO will get a SMS message that some activity is pending on your election planner, and you take a look at the election planner and see what activities are pending, so that they do not miss out on anything. So this is how the election planner looks like 6 months before, 4 months, 2 months. These are the various activities. 1 month before poll day and poll day and even after poll day. So now it is 155. Earlier it used to be even more. Now it has been a little made more rationalized. So 155, these are the activities we have to undertake for the complete electoral cycle after announcement of the elections. So this is the codification. Now operational planning involves all these aspects, logistics. Actually, any election officer should get an honorary doctorate or an honorary MBA in management, and because the kind of material management, HR management, you can get an MBA in HR, you should be getting an MBA in material management, an MBA in logistics management, an MBA in finance, and many more IT, communications. So everything comes together when you are actually conducting an election and you are actually doing it on the field and at various levels. Media management. Then we have also a system where we prepare a state election management plan. Actually, it starts from the booth level, the polling station level election management plan, which aggregates to the assembly level election management plan, then to the district level election management plan, and then to the state level election management plans, so that the comprehensiveness is there and no polling station is left out, because across all 1.1 million polling stations, you need to have the same uniformity of procedures, uniformity of materials, uniformity of deployment of personnel, and uniformity of application of the rules and the laws and the procedures. So, and no single voter, even one voter cannot be left out. So we have to do a very detailed mapping of each and every voter, each and every locality, and prepare the booth level plans, and then aggregate them to the higher levels. District election management plan actually is the most important part of this, because the district is a important unit headed by the district election officer. So then comprises of the district profile, the elector details, the polling station details, the logistic plan for the district, the movement plan for the for the polling parties, how they will go, how they will come back, and the police deployment plan, the communication plan, how to communicate with the polling parties at the polling stations, so that they can communicate to you what is going on, the voting trends, or if there is any problem, they can communicate, and the quick response can be there. Then the counting plan, where the storage of EVMs is to take place, other material storage, counting is to take place, and polling staff welfare is also an important aspect, because they are people who actually conduct the election on the ground, and of course the sweep activities. So district election management plans brings together all the things for the conduct of the election. This is the information required for the district election management plans: security forces deployment, communication plan. I will not go into details. Assessment of risk, sector movement, polling station deployment, various duties, how we will deploy them, and then the communication plan, how will we communicate in the mobile shadow regions where the network is not there. We have to plan for wireless or other modes of communication, satellite phones, wireless, or even if nothing is possible, then messenger used to be there in the earlier time, but now we have, if nothing is possible, then we have at least satellite phones. Then counting plan, storage of various materials, and this proposal has to come to the Election Commission of India in advance, which approves these plans, and says availability of staff and other logistic details, and polling staff welfare provisions. Who will be the nodal officer? What will be the amenities at the dispatch and receipt center? Because if polling staff is taken well taken care of, so they can conduct the election in a proper manner. and they should be relieved immediately after handing over the materials, and even after like 12 o'clock in the night, how will they go back home after doing their duty? To that extent, we have to do the planning. We appoint 16 nodal officers for the various activities at state and district level for undertaking the planning and planning as well as implementation of the various aspects. Here also it is important that it is not just planning, but the same people have to implement it also. So there is no distributed accountability. So the same person is responsible for implementation also. And we have a election planner IT application at the national level, at ECI level, which does the vacancy management whenever a vacancy occurs in the state. So they will immediately update the vacancy on that portal. And of course, term of house we keep track of based on the first session of the assembly. Then we have a package for the holiday management. The list of holidays is populated from the states, and that helps us in avoiding those dates. And this election panel 155 planned activities is there, which are also available, as I mentioned earlier. And we can also generate some automatic schedules based on the data that we have got, based on the term of house and the holiday schedule and all that. And of course, then we have to use it according to our judgment. Then election calendar for the upcoming state assembly elections, we keep and the user management, of course. All the ex gratia cases also we keep track of. If there is any mishap with any polling of personnel during the elections, and whether the ex gratia payments have been made. We also keep track of the electoral offences and lodged on the reports to this portal. And these are the duties of the various stakeholders in managing the entire election schedule and planning in the states and at the central level. So thank you very much. Wish you all the best.
Thank you, Garg sir, for this insightful session. Now our floor is open for question and answers.
As it has been told that you are counting the votes on the counting day itself in the polling stations. So I have since we are not experiencing this sort of thing in India, I have some query to know whether you are using EVM, electronic voting machine, or any electronic device for casting of votes. Then what is the voting time and when do you conduct the counting over there? And what is the average voters or voter size in a per polling station? How the vote is counted, and how this is compiled and sent for compilation of the declaration of the result. So this is query to you, please.
Adding to this, what is the size of electoral size, and how many polling stations are there in Tunisia?
لكم يتم فرض الأصوات في مراكز الاقتراع بالذات. نعم. فما هو يعني الوقت الفاصل بين التصويت وفرض الأصوات؟ وما هي يعني الآلية التي تستخدمونها لفرض الأصوات؟ هل تستخدمون الجهاز؟ كيف يتم؟ كيف يتم تدوين الأصوات؟ يعني؟
اوكي. يتم غلق مكاتب الاقتراع على الساعة 6 مساء، من ثم يأخذ الأعوان مهلة قصيرة للراحة حوالي 10 دقائق، من ثم ينطلقون في الفرز اليدوي. يتم فرز الأصوات يدويا، وذلك بحضور ممثلي المترشحين والملاحظين المعتمدين.
So normally the voting ends at 6 p.m. and after a gap of 10-15 minutes the vote counting begins, and it is by hand manually. No machine is being used for counting the
votes. How many voters in one polling station? That was the question. How many polling stations?
كم عدد مراكز الاقتراع؟
حوالي 4500 مركز اقتراع.
There are total number of polling stations 4,500.
How many voters in one polling
In one
station?
في مركز اقتراع واحد كم ناخب يدلون أصواتهم؟
غالبا ما يحدد في كل مسار انتخابي عدد الناخبين في كل مكتب اقتراع. مركز الاقتراع يمكن ان يحتوي الى عديد المكاتب. مركز اقتراعي يمكن ان يحتوي على مكتب او اثنين او ثلاثه. كل مكتب اقتراع يحدد في الانتخابات الفارطه حوالي 1000 ناخب في كل مكتب اقتراع. معناه يمكن أن يكون أكثر من 1000 ناخب مسجل في مركز اقتراع. يتم تقسيم يتم قسمتهم على نسبيا على حسب عدد المكاتب مع احترام الفئات العمرية. يتم توزيع الفئات العمرية نسبيا على جميع المراكز ويتم احترام ذوي الاحتياجات الخصوصية يتم وضعهم في المكتب عدد واحد.
اليومين في كل مكتب يكون
1000 ناخب.
So there are a few bureaus or few offices you can say under one polling station, and every office decides the number, and it is normally 1,000 voters at every or means decided by every office around 1,000 voters. And there are special arrangement for those people who are disabled or have some problems there.
Sir, I have one question. Out of my curiosity in Tunisia, whether this is a parliamentary system of governance or whether this is a presidential system of governance in Tunisia.
ويستفسر عن النظام الحكمي يعني في تونس هو نظام برلماني ونظام رئاسي.
نظام رئاسي.
This is presidential system of government.
Thank you.
I would like to thank you to all of my participants, Mr. Jamil, Mr. Garg sir, Mr. Singh, and our interpreter also. And thank you, all of you, for patient listening. Thank you.